Hi, welcome back to my next video. Today I'm going to be talking on the 10 things you need to know to make learning easier for you at school. The first thing I'll talk about is tell yourself what you are learning is easy. Tell yourself that what you are going to learn is easy. Sometimes I wonder when people say this is difficult, that is difficult, and that is difficult. Because nothing is difficult unless you make it to be difficult. Whatever you are going to learn is going to be processed by your brain. Whatever you are going to read today is going to be processed by your brain. And this brain is so powerful, it's so complex, and scientists have not been able to study your brain very well up to date. With all the instruments, with all the structures we have today, scientists can go to space, they can stay in space for years, but they are not able to study the brain to understand it very well. And now let me ask you this question. They go to space. How do they get there? With the aid of what? A rocket. And who made that rocket? It was human beings by the work of this brain. So what is the big deal about what you are going to learn? It's something small in front of your brain. So the first thing is this. Try to convince your brain. Tell yourself, what I'm learning is easy. What I'm going to learn is easier. And that is a nice way. Is that okay? The next thing I'll talk about is get 2 or more textbooks. Any course, any subject that you are learning at the JHS level, at the senior high level, at the tertiary level, at your master's level, any level that you are, whenever you are going to learn, get 2 or more textbooks. You can even get 5. Nothing is bad about that. Because what happens is that when you get different textbooks, they'll all give you different definitions. They'll all give you different explanations. They'll all give you different presentations. And out of those 5, out of those 2, out of those 3, out of those 4, you choose out what you want, what you think is easier for yourself. And if you're able to do that, it helps it to stick in your brain. I remember back at SS, back at JHS, we memorized definitions. So if you want to memorize definition, it's about getting 2 or more textbooks and take out the simplest one. But if you use one and you see that it's complex, you become worried. Oh, this is too difficult. But if you use 2, oh, this is difficult. This one is easy. Are you getting it? So you'll be able to choose the easier one. And if you're able to choose it, it's sticking in your brain, and that is all. Please try to practice that. The next step that I'll talk about is always get a dictionary. Always get a dictionary. I made a video where I talked about what we learn at school, and I said we are learning a language. So if you want what you're learning to be easy for you, you have to find ways and means to make the language understandable to yourself. And you can do that by the use of a dictionary. Try to find out the meaning of any word you come across that you think is ridiculous, that you think you've never heard, that you think you've never seen before. Find the meaning with examples. And if you find the meaning with examples, it means you end up understanding the whole sentence. You end up understanding the whole paragraph. You end up understanding the whole book, the whole content, what it's talking about, what the definition is really saying. And that is a nice way of learning. The next thing I'll talk about is make yourself comfortable. Get a comfortable place. If it is ready for you to learn, get a nice chair, a nice table. And sometimes making yourself comfortable all depends about your emotions. It's not only the environment, your emotions. Don't be worried with what you have. If you can sit on stones and learn, if you have all the stones, please try to convince yourself and tell yourself that I'm comfortable with these stones. That's why I always say that everything is about the brain. Everything is about the brain. Convince yourself that, hey, I'm comfortable with these stones. And if you're able to convince your brain that way, you've made yourself comfortable. The next step I'll talk about is focus on what you are learning. If you're going to learn mathematics, focus on mathematics. If you are going to learn social studies, focus on social studies. If you are going to learn physiology, focus on physiology. If you are going to learn anatomy, focus on anatomy. If you are going to learn perspective, focus on perspective. If you are going to learn English, focus on English. If you are going to learn French, focus on French. Whatever you are going to learn, focus on that only. Because if you focus on that only, your receptors are always ready to receive what they are supposed to receive. Forget about thinking about the problem you have with your father, thinking about the problem you have with your sister, thinking about the problem you have with your master, a problem you have with your friend, your colleague, either financial problem, any kind of problem. Forget about it and focus on what you are going to learn. The next step I'll talk about is try to think about what you learned. After you've read your books, after you've read your textbooks, think about it. Today I read about physiology, the physiology of cells. So you ask yourself, how is the cell able to work? Today I read about the definition of science. Why are we saying science is a method of that? Why are we saying science is this? Today I read on social studies. Why did you say that definition is this? Today I read about ECOWAS. Why are we saying ECOWAS is this? I get it. Whilst you are thinking about what you read, whilst you are thinking about what you learned, it helps it to be processed, and as it is processed, it gets into the long-term memory. The next thing that I'll talk about is this. Try to relate what you are learning today to what you know already. Try to relate what you are learning today to what you know already. That is a nice way of learning. That is a nice way of making things to stay in your brain. When you relate what you are learning today to what you know already, it means you are building on an already built foundation. But if you are not able to relate, or if you don't know anything at all, if you don't find a way to relate it, it means you have a lot to do. You have to go and start from the basis of the book, from the basis of the course, from the basis of that subject, and it will take you a time. But you have to understand yourself that I will still make it. I will still make this course easier. Please, don't give up if you don't have any idea about it. Good. The next step, or the next thing I'll talk about, is this. Please try to make what you are learning practical. Make what you are learning practical. And making it practical by visualizing, by seeing it either in a video or a pictures, or seeing them physical, how it works, is a way of making it practical. The next, or the last thing I'll talk about, is try to review what you learn at the end of every 45 minutes, at the end of every hour, at the end of every 2 hours, every 4 hours, every week, every month, every 3 months, every year, at the end of every semester. Review what you learned at the end of your year of study, whether you went for a 3-year course, 4-year course, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years. Review whatever you learned in school. And don't forget that the field that you are going to work, you are going to practice. You are going to practice what you learned at school, what you read in your books. You are going to apply them. So sometimes don't think that I'm reading to pass my exams only, because you have to what? Apply it. Now let me tell you, don't forget to teach your colleagues. Don't forget to teach your colleagues. Sometimes students feel that I don't know anything, so how can I teach my colleague? No. You don't need to know everything before you teach your colleague. The little that you know, try to explain to your colleague. And he might ask you questions and he will provide answers. And whilst you are providing answers, you are thinking to bring out the answers, and it will be processed and to get into your long-term memory. Don't forget about this. Please reward yourself after you finish learning, and it's a nice way of doing that. The next thing I'll tell you is this. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos. Thank you for watching.